Come on, let's get to know your local NPOs, non-profit organizations. Come on, let's get to know your local NPOs, non-profit organizations.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Getting to Know Your Local Nonprofit. I am Nate Dogg, and today we're going to be getting to know the nonprofit Breast GYN Health Project. They are located at 987 8th Street in Arcata, California, and their phone number is 707-825-8345, and you can find them online at bghp.org. The Breast GYN Health Project, formerly Humboldt Community Breast Health Project, is a community resource of support and education for those facing a breast or gynecologic cancer concern. They are a client-centered grassroots organization with services by cancer survivors and their support persons. They promote healthy survivorship through education, healing support, and hope, enabling each person to become their own best medical advocate. They support and challenge our community to address breast health concerns responsibly and holistically. And today we're going to be talking with the Executive Director of Breast GYN Health Project, Rose Gale-Zoellick. Thank you for joining us today, Rose.
Thanks, Nate. Nice to be here.
If you would tell us a little bit about yourself and how and why you got started and involved with BGHP.
Thanks for inviting me. I've been the executive director here at the Breast GYN Health Project for 14 years, and I was on the board of directors for 3 years before that. So I'm kind of dating myself, I think, with that many years at this organization.
We won't tell anybody.
I started working with people with breast cancer when I was right out of graduate school. It was my first job. It was the program that's now called the Every Woman Counts program. It's a free mammogram program, and it's a program where if people are diagnosed with cancer and they're income eligible, they can get free breast and cervical cancer treatment. So when on my very first job in this community, I met so many incredible cancer survivors who were so passionate about this issue. And it was in 1997, and that was when there was a breast cancer movement happening. And when you're in the middle of a movement, you don't realize that that's going on, but that's really what was going on. So I really fell in love with this cause. So I'm still with it 25 years later. Yeah, but I'm not the founder of the Breast GYN Health Project. The dates that we got involved is kind of parallel.
All right, and can you tell us how many people locally have been or will be diagnosed with breast or gynecologic cancer?
You know, I looked that up recently, and the data that I saw was from the period of 2013 to 2018, and about 110 women will be diagnosed or were diagnosed annually in Humboldt and Del Norte counties with breast cancer, and probably another 30-ish women in Humboldt and Del Norte County would be diagnosed with a gynecologic cancer.
And about how many of those are you presently serving, do you know?
You know, I think we served somewhere between half to 3/4 of those people. We helped about 330, last year we helped 335 people, most of them women, who were dealing with a breast or gynecologic cancer or a cancer concern. But the thing about cancer these days is that it's not just an acute thing that happens. It's something that happens over time. So we work with people from when they need a mammogram all the way through their treatment and beyond. So that's kind of how come we were able to help so many people.
And the Breast GYN Health Project is currently celebrating their 25th year of service. That is incredible.
It is.
How did the project start?
I love the founding story of the Breast GYN Health Project. The organization was started when Dr. Julie Animas, who's a local primary care doctor, a family practice doctor, was diagnosed with breast cancer. She was 35 years old when she was diagnosed. And she was working at North Country Clinic. She still works at North Country Clinic 25 years later as a primary care doc. She had breast cancer, and she went through her first bout with breast cancer, and then it came back, and she ended up going to see a specialist there at Stanford. And while she was at Stanford, she met Dr. Ellen Mahoney, who was working at Stanford. And Dr. Mahoney and a group of breast cancer survivors had started an organization called the Palo Alto Breast Health Project. So our founder, Dr. Juliana Miss, saw Dr. Mahoney, and she learned about the Palo Alto Breast Health Project. And she went there, and she felt understood for the first time. She was able to get information that she hadn't been able to find as a physician for the first time. And this was really before the internet. Hard to believe that 25 years things have evolved so much. But she just realized that an organization like that could happen in Humboldt County. So she came back and literally talked to her supporters around her kitchen table about her experience and said, we could do something like that here. And the people literally around her kitchen table said, if you lead, we will follow. And that's how the organization got started 25 years ago.
Wow. That's incredible. And I really like the fact that she had found a place where she was understood for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes all the difference when folks are dealing with this type of issue, which can be scary and
Mm-hmm.
painful.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to go to a place where you can get the comfort, be understood, and get the support you need, I think is really helpful.
Mm-hmm. And to find hope. When my mom was diagnosed with lung cancer, and I met someone who was a 9-year lung cancer survivor, I really completely got the concept of hope when I had that experience. And so I think hope is one of the things that the Breast and GYN Health Project helps people find.
I like that. Hope can make all the difference no matter what you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And so was there not a service like this in Humboldt before you guys got started?
What a great question. Actually, I think there were actually 4 different kinds of breast cancer groups happening at that time. And then, or maybe 3 breast cancer groups and an all cancer group. But the way things were being led were I think they were more clinically inclined. And this passionate group of people got together, and they were able to see something bigger than a support group, I think. So that's how they came to create a nonprofit out of it.
And how does the Breast and GYN Health Project help those with cancer concerns?
Different people have different needs when they're coming in, when they're diagnosed with cancer. Some people have a lot of support. Some people don't have a lot of support. Some people like a lot of information and a lot of clinical information. Some people don't like a lot of clinical information. So when most of the work that we do with people is over the phone. People call us and they say, I've been diagnosed with breast cancer. And we'll say, tell us what's going on. And we listen to people's story. And as we listen to their story, there are certain ways that we're able to help people. Sometimes we can help them create questions to ask their doctor. We don't provide medical care here at our facility, but we have nurses and doctors and lots of cancer survivors who know the cancer experience and can help people begin to navigate one step at a time, one day at a time, their cancer experience. So some of the ways that we help people is that if somebody, for example, they see a medical oncologist who does chemotherapy, or they see their surgeon, we can help them ask questions before that visit, and we can help them process what they learned at that visit. So sometimes people will bring their medical records to us, and we'll talk through what the tests say, and we have the privilege or opportunity to take as much time as the patient needs, and we call our patients clients. We can spend as much time as people need answering their questions and kind of explaining what the words mean. So it's really, that's one of those really special things that we're able to do for people. And we have a lending library. We have a support group. We have a group of volunteers who are warm line volunteers, and about half of them are people who are cancer survivors. The others are people who are experienced professionals who have worked with us for a long time and have training, and they have oversight by our client services staff. We stay with people, like I said, their whole journey, or as long as they would like us to be with them, and support them on some people don't like to call it a journey, on their cancer experience.
They don't like to call it a journey?
No, some people don't like the word journey.
Why is that?
I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. But sometimes around cancer, there are things that when people are going through the experience, they don't feel quite right. And, people using pink is one of those things. Like, not everybody thinks cancer is pink and fuzzy and soft, but a lot of people like pink and they rally around it. So we're here for everybody.
No, that's good information to know, because I would hate to use a word or use a phrase that somebody would be offended by, especially when they're going through such a rough time.
Right.
Okay, so you touched on the services that you offer a little bit, and I was taking a look at your website, bghp.org, and there are many, many services that you have. If you could explain a little bit about those, and specifically, I was interested in the warm line. What is that?
The warm line is, is our group of volunteers. We have 7 of them, and the volunteers volunteer 4 hours a week, and some of them are cancer survivors. Some of them are not, but they're professionals, retired professionals who have experience in listening and asking questions, and they're passionate about the cause. Each of those warm line volunteers has a group of individuals who said that they would like to stay in contact with us. So they contact them every week or every couple of weeks, depending on what our clients wish. And just check in to see, how are you doing? And, sometimes people don't like to bother their doctor. So our warm line volunteers might be in a conversation with someone, and somebody is going through not feeling very well. And our warm line volunteers really have an ear for that, and are able to encourage people to, let people know it's Thursday. You shouldn't wait until you're really sick. You should call your doctor's office now, so that you don't end up in the hospital. So it's just an extra set of support, and a listening ear. We're here to listen and support. It's really kind of a special service. And sometimes even we'll have people who call and they say, oh, I need a mammogram. So we'll help people find a doctor and support them to schedule that mammogram. And life gets in the way sometimes. So we'll call people once a month and say, hey, did you get that mammogram? And eventually people will get that mammogram. They're like, you cared enough to follow up with me every month. Thank you for doing that. So sometimes it's just the kindness and letting people know there's someone out there who cares, that can really help people save their lives. And it's a good thing.
It sounds like it. So the warm line is your organization calling your clients, or is it your clients calling your organization, or both?
It's both. Both. It's basically our phone line and that group of volunteers who follow people.
Who is eligible for your services, and are there any requirements, such as, do they cost money?
Oh, thank you for asking that question. Our services are available for anybody in the listening area. So in the North Coast region, all of our services are free of charge, and anybody who has a question about breast or gynecologic cancer, or especially if they're facing a diagnosis of breast cancer or a gynecologic cancer, just call us. We don't really have, there are no eligibility guidelines.
No requirements, no eligibilities, and no cost.
Correct.
Excellent. What if there's a community member who has not been diagnosed with cancer, but they are concerned about their lifestyle, or they just have some questions?
They could call and ask us questions. They could check out books in our lending library if they wanted to. We're a great resource to, like, as a sounding board. So somebody can call and ask us a question, and if we can't answer it, we'll see if we can find a resource for them.
Okay. And what about the family members of those who are going through the cancer issues? Can family members also get support from your organization?
They can. We actually have quite a few support people who call us. Maybe their loved one doesn't want to engage with us. We respect confidentiality, but loved ones, people who are support people, need support too. And we have, cancer is really, it affects the whole family. So we have some books that are about helping support people. We also have books for children about my parents have cancer. That's a resource that we have here in our lending library.
Wow, that's great. I'm amazed with your services. It's obvious that you guys are doing a lot of help for our community, and I really appreciate that. So how can those in need get involved with your services?
They can, especially right now, since we're still dealing with COVID, the best way to get in touch with us is to reach out to us by phone, or that's the best way. If you call, we can also make an appointment for you to come visit with us. Right now, we've been making appointments with people outside. But as the weather gets better, it should be more comfortable. And as COVID eases up, then we'll be able to see people in the building more.
That's a good point. I always like to ask organizations about is how did you have to adjust your services in terms of COVID in the last couple of years?
We're basically an essential service. So early on, our staff was mostly working from home, and then we realized that it was hard to actually really serve people that way. So for probably the last year or so during COVID, the staff have been back in the office. Our warm line volunteers, a lot of them are not, some of them are older and weren't comfortable coming into work. So they've been calling their clients from home. And it's actually been really impressive that they've been so generous with their time, and their clients have really appreciated that people care enough to call them from home during COVID.
That's got to really touch your clients and really be important to them, as you've explained before. So these support groups that you have in terms of COVID, were they meeting in person in the last year or two? Are they meeting in person now, or is it like a Zoom call type of thing?
It's a Zoom call kind of thing. We have 8 different support groups, and our young women's support group, of course, was the first one out of the gate who felt comfortable using technology. So they're on Zoom, and then as us people who are a little bit older got more comfortable with the technology, all of our support groups got on Zoom. And what we found was that sometimes as people are going through cancer, they don't feel very well. So when you're using Zoom, people can join a lot easier, or when we're having our support groups here in the building, sometimes people didn't feel like driving. So it really gives people better access, even though we really miss being able to see each other and give each other hugs. It's a different experience, but it's still a pretty intimate, caring setting. And a lot of people are really kind of scared of support groups. They think of them as a therapy group, and it's not a therapy group. It's people sharing their experiences and trying to be helpful and supportive of one another. There's actually, I remember when I first started in this role, I was really struck by the quiet of the profound listening that people had with one another. And then all of a sudden, there would be an eruption of laughter in the building. So it was really, that was my observation of the feeling in the building when there was a support group happening.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mhm.
And you mentioned something which I had not thought about for a long time, the importance of hugs.
Mhm,
Oh my
mhm.
gosh, we've all
Yep.
been missing that.
Healing hugs.
Yeah. Wow. And
Yep.
these support groups, they you do have a facility in your offices where these support groups happen?
Not right now. They're all happening on Zoom right now.
Mhm.
But when COVID goes away, we do have two different spaces in our building that are, there's pretty small. Our building is pretty tiny. But we can fit probably 8 to 10 people in a support group here in our building when COVID goes away.
And are there a schedule for these support groups that one could find on your website maybe?
We have some of our hours on the website. Some of the groups are, we're adjusting the hours a little bit, so people would want to call and just check to see what the times are and find out more information about what happens.
And you said there are 8 support groups. I assume there are for different people. Like you said, there was a young woman support group. So
Mhm,
if you could list out the 8 so that listeners know which one they might be wanting to join.
mhm. Our newest group is actually a Facebook closed group for Spanish-speaking people with breast or gynecologic cancer. We have a breast cancer support group that's actually older than we are. It's been going longer than we've been a nonprofit, so it's been around probably 26 years now. We have a gynecologic support group. We have a writers group, the young women's group. There's a lymphoma and leukemia group that works with us. What am I forgetting? We have a writers group, and we have a group that meets weekly for people who have stage 4 cancer.
Hmm. Wow. Lots and lots of support.
Mhm.
That is great. All right. So as a nonprofit, how do you get your funding?
Our community is very generous and supportive of the Breast and GYN Health Project. About 80% of the funds that come to us come from individual donors or from the events that happen. Only about 20% of the funds that we receive come from grants.
Oh, wow. And so you do take donations, and where would people go to donate? How would people donate?
Oh, they can donate in lots of different ways. One of the easiest ways to donate is to go to our website, and there's a donate now button on the website, so they can donate that way. They can donate. I think they can donate through Facebook. They can call us. They can write a check to the Breast and GYN Health Project. We do have a PayPal account. They probably need to call us to find out where that is. I
Well, let's
think
just remind listeners of that information. So you can call Breast and GYN Health Project at 707-825-8345, or you can send them a check to 987 8th Street in Arcata, California. And or you could go to their website at bghp.org. Okay, and do you need or take volunteers?
we do use volunteers. We have some clerical work that we do. We have fundraising events. We have our biggest fundraiser of the year coming up, our vacation raffle that people sell raffle tickets for. And it's 7 nights stay at 2 different locations. One it's in Lake Tahoe, and the other is in Vermont. And the Vermont one has airfare. Actually, they both have airfare. And then we have a 3-night stay in Sun River, Oregon, and a 3-night stay in Bodega Bay. We'll be launching that fundraiser in about 3 weeks, and the drawing will be in June. So we need lots of the magic sauce of that event is volunteers selling raffle tickets for us.
All right. Is there any other information that you can give us that you would like to tell the community about your services?
You know, one of the favorite or most important things that our clients tell us that we offer is a medical record binder, because the cancer experience can be really overwhelming. There's a lot of information coming your way. There's a lot to keep track of, and it's a new language. So when we have someone who's newly diagnosed with cancer, we give them a medical record binder. We also are happy to provide people with like an outline if they want to make their own medical record binder. So people are welcome to call us for information about our medical record binder. It just helps people be more in control of their own cancer experience.
Yeah, and help with organization. And as you said earlier, answering questions or translating the medical jargon that can often be on all of that information.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, this has been Getting to Know Your Local Nonprofit. I am Nate Dogg. We have been getting to know Breast GYN Health Project, and we have been speaking with Executive Director Rose Gale-Zoellick. And you can find them at bghp.org online. You can give them a call and ask them about their services at 707-825-8345. Or are you accepting people going to the office right now?
People can drop in, yes.
Okay, and that's at 987 8th Street in Arcata, California. Rose, I really want to thank you and your organization for all the work that you're doing for our community, and thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks, Nate.
Come on, let's get to know your local NPOs, non-profit organizations. Come on, let's get to know your local NPOs, non-profit organizations.